What's good, everyone? Welcome back to my episode, to my podcast, Real Talks with Jay Real, and I have my amazing friend that I've been waiting to get onto the podcast. Her name is Stephanie. She's the founder and CEO of Lights Camera Live. What up, Steph? How you doing?
Jay, real, how are you?
I'm doing well, much better this morning. Now that I have you on the show, you're just want to let you know you're amazing. Since we've connected, obviously, we've followed each other on IG and started learning more about you. And the more and more I look into what you're doing, the more I'm amazed by your experience and your background. And naturally, I want to ask you those questions because a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners um, doesn't have that kind of charisma. I think public speaking is one of the like I think like most feared like thing to do by a lot of people, right? So, but anyway,
Absolutely.
please introduce yourself to everybody, whoever's going to be watching my show. You
All
can
right,
really
hey
like just
crew.
already, so I don't know,
I
but
would
yeah,
love it.
go ahead,
Yeah.
stuff.
So, hey crew, my name is Stephanie Garcia, and I'm the founder and CEO of Lights Camera Live. I help my clients go from unknown to unfucking forgettable by leveraging live video. And the way that I do that is I help them captivate on command when they're on camera. Because my thing, Jay, is that if you could communicate clearly and concisely and confidently on camera, your clients are going to be confident that you're going to get results for them too. So that is my claim to fame.
That's amazing. You're good. You're good. I was just telling you, like, before I started recording, like, I just paid to attend 10x stages so I could learn more on how to be able to communicate better and have a signature talk. But it seems to me that I should have just went directly with you. Oh my God. It's, it is what it is, but I'm sure, I mean, I consider you a friend and I'm sure
Yeah,
moving
man.
forward, we're
You
going to
always
be
got
able
my
to work
brain on speed
together.
dial. You know who to hit up. If 10x stages is like, hey, you need a metaphor for your signature talk. I'm like, bro, let's do it. Let's talk about metaphors. Let's talk about analogies. Talk about all the different ways that you could overcome sales objections from the stage. So whatever you know me. You
That's
know where to find
awesome.
me.
I love that. I love that. And that's one of the reasons why, guys, I also just like I talk about networking and maybe you could talk about that as well. And, if it wasn't for the networking events that we've attended, we wouldn't come across each other. And yeah, absolutely appreciate that, Stephanie. But my first question I would say is, how did you get into this particular space that you're in?
Okay, so it's really like two spaces, but I'll first start off with talking about live streaming. So I'm an ad agency veteran. I spent the last decade and a half deep in the trenches of agency life. And so I've done everything from paid search, SEO, and social media. My clients have been Nike, Sephora Clinique. I've also worked with NASA. And it was one of those things where I was like, well, shit, if I could do this for them, I could sure as hell do it for me and on my own time and on my own schedule. And so when I launched my own social media agency, it was really like, well, how do I separate myself from the sea of sameness? Right. And I
Yeah,
realized that when I started, nobody was showing what it is that they do. Right. People will, hey, they'll say what it is that I do, but no one showed you. And I was like, well, I'll show you how I do it. And so I started live streaming on Facebook. And because I was so connected to all of my clients, my agency friends, and back then, as soon as you went live, Facebook notifications would come up. And then everyone was like, damn, girl, you're top of mind. And because I was top of mind, I was tip of tongue. And so
yeah,
then clients would come through. And so that's when I started to realize every time I went live, at the end of a live stream, boom, I would get a new client. Because people like Jay, people would be like, wait, how did you do that? Wait, how do you like show up? Like, what gear are you using? What camera are you using?
yeah.
And I realized if that's what people were interested in, I shouldn't only just talk about social media, but I should also talk about how do you show up on camera? How do you take
Yes.
the mess out of your messaging? How do you speak with confidence and clarity? And then I realized, okay. And that sparked another business, which is Captivate on Command.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, please continue.
No, you're supposed to ask me questions. You're
Oh, okay, no, yeah, no, I am. But yeah, I'm just like so captivate on. You said on command. right?
Yeah, Captivate on Command is our NLP training company. So we help our clients basically leverage everything that there is about NLP so that way they could understand how their mind works, how, because at the end of the day, communication is the response that you get, right? And those that are most successful, whether it's sealing the deal, it's because they have flexibility in their communication skills. They know how to speak to someone like me. Like, I'm a visual
Right,
communicator. I talk hella fast. I talk with my hands. If I'm on a podcast, then I have to train myself on how to pause, take my time in enunciating my words. If I'm speaking to someone that's a kinesthetic learner, then I have to show them how. I have to warm them up. There's certain things that you have to do in order to captivate your audience. And then if I'm talking to someone who is an auditory digitals are those people that like to think in processes, frameworks. Like, you ask them about their day and they'll break it down for you, you
yeah,
know? And so knowing how to communicate or pitch an idea is really important for entrepreneurs in order to get the deal that it is that they want.
that's a fact. That's a fact. And I mean, were you just naturally like good at it, or just over time, over the years, like you got really, experience and got better and worked on your craft? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think I think naturally, being the youngest of three children, I was always the chatty Cathy. Like, I was the one that was cracking the jokes all the time. I was like, why is everyone so serious, So eventually I learned to hone that craft. And so early on, I had done Toastmasters,
Oh
right? And
yeah.
then I was in ROTC. And so even in ROTC, my commander, who was an ex Navy SEAL, would send me to leadership boot camp. And so I had my own platoon all throughout high school, and I had to learn how to lead, how to motivate. I mean, how to motivate teenagers? Come on.
At a very young age.
Right? Yeah. And then later on, being in the agency world, it was really understanding, how do you pitch campaigns to your clients?
Right.
And not only that, though, but how do you pitch as a team? Because usually, as an agency, you're not just pitching one discipline or one service like social media. It's like you're doing paid media, you're also doing public relations, and you're doing advertising campaigns. And so we had to learn improv.
Yeah.
And improv is one of those things where it's like you have to be in flow with your teammates, your colleagues when you're pitching ideas. You also have to read the audience and really understand, okay, does this key stakeholder, does this person, this investor that I'm pitching to, do I really have their attention, or are they preoccupied with something else?
Right.
And so improv is very helpful. And then eventually down the line, it was NLP. It was really understanding, okay, if the meaning of communication is the response that you get, well then shit, I'm gonna make sure that the odds are always gonna be in my favor.
I think that's very, very important as entrepreneurs, investors, even, right? To be able to communicate better. I think personally for me, that's why I'm doing different things to help me out with that, because it's not something that I'm the best at. But however, I see the value especially for me as a business coach now, as a business advisor, whether I'm doing one-on-one or group coaching, being clear and concise about what I'm trying to advise them is very important. So I'm definitely investing a lot into myself in learning how to be a better communicator and understanding my audience. I've seen in some of your Instagram videos that you've done a lot of like public speaking on stages. Could
Yes.
you share a little bit about like some of your most recent like events that you've attended and what things that you spoke about?
Sure, of course. So one of my most recent events is I did a 3-day workshop for P&G. I flew out to Panama to teach their teach their teams in Colombia, Argentina, and all these other places on how to do live shopping. And so
Wow.
I did a workshop to teach them how to be confident on camera, how to take the mess out of your messaging, how do you set up a live show that really gets your audience engaged and buzzing before you even hit the go live button. So that was like a really good one. And most recently, I will be the MC at Vid Summit. Vid Summit is one of the best YouTube content creator conferences that are out there. So it's in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
I don't know when you're gonna drop this, but but I'll be there. I'll be rocking one of the stages. Usually there's like about 4 different stages. So I'll be one of the MCs.
No way.
Come through to my room. Yeah.
When is this happening again? In
This is
Dallas?
October 3rd through the 5th. So it's actually the same week as WealthCon in Las
Oh,
Vegas. So you'll probably be in Vegas and I'll be in Dallas.
unfortunately, it's my birthday week, and we're actually going to Cancun for yeah a week, yeah.
Okay, sir.
But,
That's
but
exciting.
no, yeah, absolutely. I always have this FOMO though. It's like, oh, I messed out, but it's all good. But I would, if I wasn't gonna be like anywhere, I would probably go to where you're at just to kind of see how it is. I've never
Oh, it's
been to
fun.
like is it like, do you call it like VidCon or what do you?
So VidCon, well, it's interesting because VidCon is more for the viewers, like the fans, to meet their favorite YouTube content creators, right? Or content creators across all platforms. And then they have like an industry track where you could meet industry pros. Vid Summit is actually dedicated to the content creator that wants to take their passion for creating and turning it into a business. So
Oh,
you'll meet like legit YouTube channels making millions of dollars, how they're doing it, how they hired a team of editors, how they do
yeah,
this, and all the things. And so it's really for the content creator that wants to take their media, like build basically their own media empire and take it to the next level.
I see. It's not necessarily just like YouTube, like creators. It's like different, different
Yeah,
people.
content creators across all different platforms. So you'll see them like on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Yeah.
So, like, give me some good names that you think would be there. Like, I've never been to one, but it sounds very interesting.
Okay. Well, so Mr. Beast is obviously he's going to be there.
Wow. Okay.
Eric is going to be there. My good friend Roberto Blake, Daryl Eves, just a lot of heavy hitters. Owen Video is another good friend of mine. Luria Petrucci, who's another fellow live streaming legend.
Oh
So
my.
it's yeah,
Wow. All these big names. And how did
yeah.
how did you get involved with them? Like, or like how did they get around you? Like, so as far as meeting them and all that stuff, is it through this event or just in
Oh, Vid
general?
Summit. Well, it's the funny thing about the industry is that there's resources and relationships, and when you have resources and relationships, it helps you, right? Like this from networking as well. And so my good friends, Roberto and Owen, they've always spoken at Vid Summit. And there are times when they're like, man, we need more women. We need more representation at these
Yeah.
events. And they're like, why don't we bring on Steph? Because I don't know about you, but I've not seen another Filipina like me
Nope.
live streaming, creating video.
Nope.
If I wanted to dance on TikTok, I can, but I don't. If anything, I speak my truth. I talk mad shit, and I still own it. You don't see anyone like me as
Yeah.
often. And so just to have that opportunity where they're like, Steph, we need your personality, to come through. And
I
I
love
love that as a beacon to bring other female content creators to the stage.
I do. I love that. And you're right. Absolutely. I don't, you're probably the first one that's really fully engaged in what you're doing that I've personally met. So there's not many out there. So definitely kudos to you for that. I love it. For one, you're obviously minority, Filipino, a woman. That's that's top three like things that it's amazing to be out there and sharing your story, your strength, and inspiring other women as well to do the same thing. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about the networking piece, right? Like,
Yes.
could you tell us, I personally already know how important it is. I talk about it often, but for our listeners and our viewers, like, what are your thoughts on investing in attending, different networking events, whether it's free or paid for?
Whether it's free or it's paid for, investing in networking is absolutely essential. Because here's the thing, who you are is the average of the 5 people that you're around. And when you're in a room with other people that know more than you, then that's your opportunity to learn. And if you're a podcaster like JRail, then it's an opportunity for you to bring other people onto your show. That's like free education right there,
Right.
you know? instead of paying for a mastermind, you bring someone onto your show, you get to pick their brain and whatnot, and you really get the meat of it, the real gems of what it is that they have to offer. And so in networking, if you really think about it, you're usually like one introduction away from the goal that you want to achieve. Literally, if you just went to these events and you said, "Hi, my name is Stephanie. This is what I do. This is what I'm interested. Do you know anyone else that would be interested?" I think that's the best way to get your foot in the door, because most people will always want to work with people that they know, right? So even in the example I told you about Vid Summit, the
Yeah,
guys were just kind of like, dude, Stephanie's going to show up because I own my stuff, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm not shy. Put a mic in front of me. I'm not shy about it. I'm like, bring it on, game on, let's do
I
it,
love
you
that.
know?
I love that. I love that. You could just certainly like I could totally see you in the future to be at WealthCon as well as one of the speakers. To be honest, like
Bring it.
I envision that, and one of my goals in the future is when I get better at this, is to also be one of the speakers, out there and provide some value into, my craft is business scaling, leadership, all that stuff, and I could definitely see Ryan Pineda having you on the WealthCon event and just giving some golden nuggets to everybody because it's very
You
valuable
too,
for
sir.
thank you, for investors, entrepreneurs, business owners, because we're always trying to pitch, and
Yeah.
you're absolutely correct. Like being like clear in your story and being confident plays a huge factor whether they'll do business with you. I know that,
Yeah.
as I've learned all of these other things, but um, let's talk a little bit more about branding, how important it is for people that are, either content creators or just business owners and entrepreneurs. Like, how important is that in for us as entrepreneurs and such?
For sure. I think personal branding is what's going to separate you from the sea of sameness. Because anyone can say, "Hey, I do social media," but what is it about you specifically? And when I say about you, you have to tell me, like, what is the experience of working with JReal? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Like,
Right,
even you just listening to me, you know that if you're in a room with me one on one, I'm like, boom, let's go. That's my vibe,
right. It is.
right? That's my personal brand right there. I'm not going to sit you down and say, "Here, read this book, do some exercises."
Yeah,
No, right? We're going to get up, we're going to do some, whiteboarding. We'll have post it notes, markers, whatever it is that we got to do. But really, it's that like, what's your flavor? Like, I'm spicy. I'm literally the one, like, if you need your ass kicked, I will kick your ass.
yes.
ROTC, Navy SEAL.
You.
That's me.
That's
If you're looking for someone to coddle you and be like, "It's okay," boo, that's not me,
not you.
right?
It's funny.
And that's your personal brand.
It's funny you say that. Sorry to cut you off, Steph, but that's truly who you are authentically. In the times that we've been like hanging out together at the events and all that stuff, that's exactly who you are, and I love that because for me, I think being authentic, true authentic self is very important, and I don't try to be, that's just who I am as well. Like I just try
Yeah.
to be who I am. I try not to mimic my other, like mentors and all that stuff because that's not who I am. Like one for me, obviously, as you know, like since being involved with 10x, right? I do these calls also like with Grant Cardone either once a week or every other week whenever he's got the time. And he's very, outspoken. He likes controversies, like creating like, whether good or bad publicity. Like he does that. But for me, I'm more reserved. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm a bit more scared, like to really kind of just talk openly about, hey, money, wealth and all that stuff. But I understand that it also plays a factor into your brand and attracting your ideal avatar or your audience. But I just can't be that person. But I try to do different things that people have advised me to do so as well. But
Yeah. I think it's important to take, I think it's important to understand what works for your mentors, but why? Why does it work?
right,
Like, for example, if someone wants to work with Grant Cardone, what is it specifically that he does that actually motivates people?
right.
And that's what I love about understanding how people work. Like, what is that strategy? you know? And I think oftentimes, because you and I, we both coach people, it's understanding what is their motivation strategy. Some people are motivated by the carrot and some people are motivated by the stick. And so, depending on who your client is going to be, you have to figure out where on that spectrum you
Right.
have to show up. Because if someone's like, oh, Stephanie, I'm in my shit, I haven't done anything, I haven't created content, it's like, I could just be like, oh, it's okay, you're on your period, whatever, right? I could do that, but is
True.
that going to get results?
Right.
And the thing is, I'm about results,
Love,
right? I'm not here for reasons. I'm here for results. And
love
so when you're done with like your season of reasons, boo, come over to me and we'll actually develop a strategy that works. And so again, you have to figure out like where on that spectrum, how are you going to motivate your client? Sometimes they do need that space,
that. Hmm.
and I understand that, and I'll give them that space. But I'll literally put a time limit on it, Jay. I'll just be like, okay, so how long do you want to feel like shit? You want to feel like shit for like 5 more minutes,
Yeah.
5 more weeks, 5 more years? Or like, when do you actually want to get off your ass and like start doing shit, And then they're like,
Love it.
fuck.
Steph, you're so dope, dude. Like you could be a drill like instructor for the military as well. But obviously, I know you got that background. Your father was also in the Navy, like myself, which is pretty cool. I gotta give you a chief coin, like next time we see each other, to give to him. Um, but that's so true. And you talked about coaching, right? You and I both do coaching. I coach entrepreneurs to help them with essentially just earning more revenue and just making their systems a lot better. But for you, like, could you tell us about your ideal avatar, who you coach specifically, and like, can you give us a picture of like how you interact with them?
Absolutely. So the type of entrepreneurs that I work with are those that want to share their story. They understand that their stumbling blocks, whatever it is that they went through, whatever their past is, they want to take those stumbling blocks and turn them into stepping stones for the next generation. I like to work with people that want to build a legacy. If you're like, Stephanie, I want to sell some socks, I'm like, all right, cool, go find someone else. But if you're like, yo, I want to make waves in my community. I want to build a legacy for my children. I want to do so much more. That's my type of client. I want a client who has a vision of what it is that they want. And it's okay if they don't know how because they know me,
Right.
right? And I'll map it out for them and take them step by step. I'm very much the type of person where I love a client that follows instructions.
Yes.
Clients that follow instructions, and that's just overarching. Clients that follow instructions pay their bills on time. Clients that follow instructions pay their invoices on time. Clients that follow instructions know how to fulfill a strategy that you give them. Anyone, right? That's just like, well, I'm going to do it my own way. Well, it's like, no, 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 hold up, hold up. Because if you're not all in, anything less than 100% is sabotage. I'll say that again. Anything less than 100% is sabotage. So my clients, I'm like, if you're all in, I'm all in. Like all this energy behind you, rooting you all day, every damn day. You text me, I got you. You got my brain on speed dial. Like that's who I am. If you're someone that you're like, damn, dude, I need someone that's gonna help not just cross the finish line, Jay. I'm gonna have you strut across the finish line like,
I
oh my
love it.
God, with the fan and everything. Like, that's me. I'll be your Beyonce in the background, like rooting for you.
That's
You
amazing.
be Jay-Z. Like, we got this.
I love
Carter's.
that. I love that, Steph. And you're actually absolutely right. That's one of the questions I ask, and I'm going to ask you how you qualify your ideal client and the people that work with you, because I'm pretty sure you just don't take anybody and everybody. When I one of my qualifying questions, like I have a few, but one of the last ones I ask is that if we work together, are you going to put your 100% effort in being a good student? And the reason being is if you're not, you're just wasting your money and we're wasting both of our times, right? So, do you ask those kind of questions before you take on a client?
I do. So the question I ask, very similar to yours, is are you willing to do whatever it takes to get the result that you want?
Love that.
And remember, anything less than 100% is sabotage. I'm not going to
Oh,
give
you
you an
gotta coin
inch.
that.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to give you an inch for self doubt. The second you doubt yourself, call me. Call me. And I will either cuss you out and get you right back on track, or I'll do the mindset shift
Yeah.
because there's no room for doubt. Like if you doubt yourself, then other people are going to doubt you. And I feel like in business, you need to have your mindset on lock.
Yes, dialed in.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Um, I had a question in my mind, but I was just soaking everything that you tell me, and I'm actually gonna rewatch this, Steph. That's how good you are. Um, but what was my other question? Oh, uh, let's talk about the importance of coaching. You and I are both coaches. I personally spent a lot of money.
A
Um,
lot, thousands. We could probably both say we've spent like in the thousands
oh, hundreds. Like I mean, like
for
a lot
sure.
of money for sure. But you and I both understand the importance of having the right coach, the right mentor, somebody that will advise you and give you some guidance in what you're trying to accomplish. I personally already believe in mentorship since I was in the military. I mentored a lot of sailors to be the best version of themselves. And I wouldn't say for some reason, like I'm able to really like mentor these guys to be the best version of themselves essentially. And when I left the Navy, um, immediately, I hired a business coach just before I started my own business because I didn't want to take the long road to success. I
Yeah.
didn't want to go through trials and errors and
Yeah.
possibly most likely fail. But in your own like words, like how important is it to have a right mentor coach, whether paid or unpaid? And maybe you could tell me a little bit both, like the difference between paid and unpaid mentor or coach.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about the difference between a mentor and a coach. So, a mentor is typically the type of person who has walked down the path that you're trying to go,
Right.
right? And so, a mentor will speak from their own experience of, if that was me in that time and in that situation, here is what I would do, right? And these are some things that you should be aware of. These are the people that they'll connect you to and whatnot. And so, a mentor is usually someone that's within your space that understands your industry. A coach, on the other hand, a coach doesn't actually have to be in your space. A coach is someone that will actually coach you so that way you'll get the results that you want. A coach will actually understand what is your decision making strategy if you have a decision making strategy. How many people do we know, Jay, that can't make a freaking decision? They're like looping all the time. You get what
Right.
I'm saying? So a coach would be like, what is your decision making strategy? What values are most important to you in your life, right? What is your motivation strategy? And a coach will definitely call you out on your patterns, your habits, whether your habits are good or bad. And they'll literally say, like, okay, so what is your strategy for getting this result?
Right.
Because if you're not getting the result that you want, then guess what, babe? You got a fucked up strategy. Figure out a new strategy. And so a coach will be like, okay, how much longer are you going to keep failing? Because you have a great strategy for failing. How about we start creating a strategy for succeeding? How about that? And so a coach is the type of person that will coach you based off of your blind spots, things that you're not considering, your unconscious programming, your unconscious habits, the way that you carry yourself. A coach is someone that can also get your mindset so that way you get that clarity. Most people become clients because they're out of touch of what it is that they want. Most
Right.
people are clients because, like, oh, well, so and so told me to do this and and it's like, babe, what do you want?
Yeah.
What's most important to you? Because when you figure out what's most important to you, you're going to move heaven and earth. You're going to wake up in the morning fully motivated. You're not going to be like, oh my God, I have to go drink coffee and da. You're like, no, fuck this. I woke up. I need to get shit done. Let's get shit done.
Yeah.
That's the difference, to me at least.
Right. No, that's pretty cool. I appreciate that, and absolutely. Um, I had another question, man. Like, and it was in my mind as you were saying that I got to get better at my follow up questions and all of those things. But I was okay. So, in the lines of what we're doing right now, podcasting, do you actually have any podcasts? 'Cause I wasn't sure if you have one.
Technically, no. I mean, so I'm a live streamer, which means I live stream on multiple platforms. So I go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, well, now X, and on YouTube.
Oh,
And the reason I do that is because there's something about engaging with someone live. There's something about getting your question answered in real time. See, my thing, Jay, is live streaming gets you on the fascination fast track.
mm,
Because when people know, like, oh my God, she said my name. Oh my God, like she answered my question in real time, it releases those happy brain chemicals. I'm talking about that dopamine, the oxytocin, that serotonin, those endorphins. And so then they're like, damn, I need to show up.
right,
To me, the most loyal people are the ones that block out time on their calendar for like that exclusive one-on-one coaching because they're like, damn, this is the
right.
only time I could be on Steph's calendar because after that, this girl is flying over here. She's doing this, she's doing that. So this is like the one time I get her undivided attention. So a lot of times for me, I'll just take that content, I'll repurpose it into a blog post. You've seen it. I turn it into like short form videos. I'll share that across all different platforms. To me, it's about creating digital confetti because I'll just like take that video, chop it up, make it into digital confetti, spread it all across the internet, and people are like, damn, where's the party at? I'm like, yo, it's over here. Come through. You
Nice,
know, like,
nice.
where's the party mouse? Let's go.
So you just mentioned all the platforms that you're involved in: LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and all the other social media platforms as well. So is that where people could find you, like if they want to connect with you, like after seeing this episode? Because I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a lot of people and say, "I want to work with Miss Stephanie Garcia because she's gonna be able to help me out."
On that fire. Yeah, you could always find me on social media. I find that. So here's the thing. I told you I like clients that follow instructions.
Right.
I like clients that reach out to me on LinkedIn. And let me explain.
Love it.
The reason why I pay attention to folks on LinkedIn is because then I could see what is their background. What are they actually doing? What kind of great content are they doing?
Right.
How are they communicating? And to me, that's the best way to reach out. Sometimes people reach out to me on Instagram, which I don't mind, but I view that more as like a casual conversation.
I see.
Whereas when people reach out to me on LinkedIn, it's because they want to do business, it's because they want to get results. And
Yeah.
so for me, that's how I filter, like, are you serious or are you just trying to say, like, hey? Because you can say, hey, I don't mind.
Right, right. No, you know what? That's pretty funny because I just hired an appointment setter, um, and for organic outreach, and I specifically just want her to focus on LinkedIn.
Yes.
That, that's where all the professionals are at, right? The ones that are pretty serious, and it's also still important to be omnipresent, all the other social
Yeah.
media platform. But personally, for me, ideally, all my clients, that's where I find them, whether they're
LinkedIn.
making
Yeah.
eight
And,
figures
and
and all that stuff or below.
And here's the thing about LinkedIn too, is on LinkedIn, you could see who else they're connected to. So
Right,
then you could actually really understand what their interests are, right? So like let's say you want to get leads on LinkedIn. Well, obviously I want to build rapport with them. So, what are their interests? What's their occupation? Who do they hang with? What groups are they a part of? What are they reading? What are they posting online? That actually gives me more actionable information than Instagram. Because Instagram, you
true,
could talk about whatever it is that you want. Sometimes
right,
people will newsjack and try to go on the next trending reel or whatever.
right,
But in reality, if I want to know what's most important to you, I just take a look at your LinkedIn. Because if you've dedicated the last 15 years of your life in this particular field, okay, game changer. I know you're serious about it. You're not like some floating, oh, I woke up today and I just feel like doing this. It's like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
this is someone who's dedicated to their craft and they want to take it to the next level.
That's pretty cool. I actually do you so you could go live on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Oh shoot. You and I don't we're I think we're only connected on Instagram, but I'm definitely gonna follow you on Facebook and LinkedIn. I used to be very, very active on LinkedIn, and for some reason, I started shifting into Instagram, put a lot of focus and time and effort into that. But now I realize that, okay, LinkedIn is really, truly it's a great professional network, and I need to spend a lot more time in there. So I didn't even know that you could actually do live stream. Part of my strategy is to provide value first by giving training. I plan on doing webinars, all free, obviously, and if they want to work with me, obviously we set up the strategy class. You already know how it works, but I didn't know I could do live streaming on LinkedIn, so I have to like get your how you actually utilize that.
Yeah, we could totally talk about that. Yeah, LinkedIn is one of those things where, every time you post content on there, whether it's a newsletter or it's a LinkedIn article, that actually helps you as far as SEO goes. So if I were to search for your name, I want to know in all the different places, where do you show up?
Hmm.
Right? You talk about like being omnipresent on social media, but here's the thing, baby, if I can't Google you, do you even exist?
Wow.
Are you just some
Yeah.
AI generated image,
Yeah.
right? Now we see like AI generated videos. So I need to know
Right.
like, who are you? What is it that you do? Who do you know? Are there other people that can vouch for you? And so I think when you show up in Google search results, to me, that's like, okay, this person is actively building their personal brand. And Instagram threads, like, okay, that's great. But it's just one link. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you looked up Lights Camera Live, you're gonna find Lights Camera Live, the website, the course, the masterclass, right? All the podcast episodes. You're gonna find all the things. And that's what I mean about taking my clients from unknown to unforgettable. It's
Mm.
one of those things where like, ooh, they meet you for a hot second, then they like turn around real quick and then they try to like Google you. Boom, that's me, baby. Right? Go take a look at the images. Boom, that's me speaking on stage. Boom, that's me like on Amazon on a book, right? That's the difference to me about showing up on social. Yes, show up on social, show up on stories. Okay, great, but it's going to disappear in 24 hours.
Right.
I'm not here to disappear, Jay. I'm
Damn.
here to build a legacy. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. And I'm not gonna say names because there's different strategists out there that I know. I consider friends as well, but their strategies a lot different than yours, which I actually could see myself more in line with the strategy that you have. But some people just talk about, hey, just all you got to do is like go in stories, post this many times, and all of that stuff, and that's about it. But like, you're actually the first one who that so far that I've talked to in my podcast that talked about leveraging also LinkedIn, which is a very strong platform. I
LinkedIn, YouTube, SEO. Yeah.
Oh man, that's pretty dope. Matter of fact, I'm actually gonna Google myself after this because I don't know what's out there.
Google yourself. Yeah. Find
I'm,
out. See
I'm
what shows up.
afraid.
You're like, damn, is that my MySpace? Is that Friendster? Is that Zanga?
Yeah,
Like, what?
I'm that old that I had Friendster, man. Like I forgot Zynga. What is Zynga?
Oh, don't even ask that.
I remember it, but like I don't remember it. I just remember the name.
Zanga was like blogging.
Gotcha. So you
Yeah,
could,
Zanga was like blogging. And then you had like Asian Avenue. You had like all the different social media platforms, right? Like it's crazy because when I say I've been in this industry for a while, like I know what I'm talking about. I've seen
yeah.
the evolution of social. But you know what remains the same?
What's
The
that?
psychology of people.
Facts. That's a
It's
fact.
psychology. It's what motivates people. What gets people to stop scrolling. How do you get people to stop, look, and listen to what it is that you have to say? That's how you separate yourself from the sea of sameness.
That's pretty awesome. Um, are you doing any kind of like paid advertising to help your brand be more out there, or everything's all organic?
Everything is all organic.
Wow, that's
And
pretty.
that's what I love and that's what I mean by digital confetti. Like we could geek out about this.
Yeah,
So many people are creating on so much content that it's probably sitting on an external hard drive. It's collecting digital dust.
yeah,
I'm the type of person that pulls it out of you. And I'm like, it's not just about repurposing your content into short form videos and stories and all that other stuff. It's about repackaging that content. Like if you've done a podcast, babe, okay, why not make a book? Because you've already got the interviews. You might as well make it into a transcript. You might as well put it into like an actual pitch. Go to an editor and be like, yo, here's the book outline. Here are two sample chapters. No one else is talking about this out there because I'm the only one that has this type of podcast. Publish my book. Boom, 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 done. You get what I'm saying? That to me, that's going to be something that my daughter will be able to walk away with and like, yo, my mom wrote that. You
that's
know what
it.
I'm saying?
I was gonna
Not
tell
like,
you.
oh,
Yeah, that. Sorry, I cut you off again. That's that book that's behind you. Let's. Yeah, let's talk about it. When did you guys? Were you the sole like writer or author, or did you have it with a couple other people?
So a couple other people, it was my crew. We're the 360 marketing squad. So there's Jen Herman, there's Mike Alton, and Amanda Robinson, and each one of us had our own specialty. I'm video marketing.
Yeah,
Mike does blogging. Amanda does Facebook, meta ads, all the things, and then Jen does Instagram. So with all your powers combined,
right.
right?
Huh? Right.
Right? And so Entrepreneur Media reached out to us and said, we would love for you to write a book. And
Wow.
so we got together, we published the book. The book came out in the middle of COVID. Jay, I remember when the book came out and I unboxed it on air, right? And then I went to my mom's house and it was still in the middle of COVID. And I was like, look, mom, I published a book. And she had to stand, like feet away because they weren't doing
Right.
so hot.
Wow.
And she's like, yeah, you wrote a book. I'm like, mom, I wrote a book. And so that was a couple years back. Now I'm working on my second book.
Wow.
And my second book is The Ultimate Guide to Influencer Marketing,
Ooh.
which is amazing because now I'm reaching out to my other friends and it's one of those things where it's like if you have a platform and if you could pull other people up beside you,
Yeah.
right? And then you have all these other living legends with you, then I'm like, let me feature in your book. Give me a case study. Give me something that I could put in there for you. And so that's supposed to hit shelves next year.
That's so sick. And where can we find your book? Is it just is it on Amazon or just
It's on
Google?
Amazon. Yeah, go on Amazon,
I'm
search for
buying.
The Ultimate Guide to Social Media. You'll find it in Barnes and Noble. If you go to Barnes and Noble and you see it, take a photo, send it to me.
You know what? My daughter loves going to Barnes and Noble. Excuse me, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna go find that.
yeah,
If not, like my go-to is Amazon. I have a lot of books I read when I can, and they kind of because I definitely love reading things that's gonna help me out as a personal and professionally. And so I think that book would be pretty amazing. So I
yeah.
will purchase it and let you know my feedback. I'm
Hey,
sure it's
yeah.
gonna
I
be
mean,
good.
yeah, it's jam packed. I mean, but that's like the thing though, right? Because you and I, we have like this military background and experience, and
Yeah.
it's always been you have to model excellence.
Hmm.
There's something about people that want to model excellence,
Right.
right? Like our bar is on a whole nother level.
Right.
Like it's like, babe, I don't do average, like you could have average. I'm
Mm,
not average. So that's
exactly.
why I charge what it is that I charge. That's why I say what it is that I say. I'm not waiting for someone to invite me to a stage. I'm going to build my own damn stage. You know
I,
what I'm saying? That's
I
why
love.
I live stream on all the platforms.
I
And I
love.
take my own content, repurpose it. I make my own damn book. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like, I'm
love.
not waiting for an invitation. Stop it.
You know what? Matter of fact, I'm pretty happy you mentioned you build your own stage, right? I was actually thinking about doing that because there's a lot of things that I personally feel like I could provide value to a lot of people, in regards to entrepreneurship and business. And then obviously getting more people like yourself, like as guest speakers and all that stuff. What would you advise somebody like me who's never done it before, but wanting to do it? Like, what would be your best advice?
Well, first, you have your own virtual stage. This right now is considered a virtual stage, right? The webinars that you're doing is a virtual stage. How you bring that in person, I mean, you could go baby steps and do workshops
Yeah,
in person. That always works out. But if you want to go all out and do like a big conference, that's not hard either. it's
really?
it's just a matter of hiring the right event planner for
Yeah,
you that says, okay, how many people are you expecting, who do you want in your lineup? And I think that's the most important piece to anyone that's planning an event is who do you want on your stage, because you
right.
could have anybody
Yeah,
to fill time and space. But the difference is the person that is going to change the mindset of your audience. So that way, after the applause fades, you're like, damn, I'm motivated.
yeah.
Right. And to me, it's funny because when I say motivated, I always remember like motivated, motivated, downright dedicated, fired up, ooh, rah, right?
Oh,
That's me.
yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? That's so you have to be able to envision what do you want your event to look like, sound like, feel like, and then work with an event planner to be like, okay, find a space that allows me that, you know? And there are different places that you could choose from. It doesn't always have to be like the biggest ballroom at a hotel. You could find an Airbnb that lets you do event spaces
Yeah.
and go about it that way. You could do an intimate thing, or if you want to support your own community, do your own local library. One of my girlfriends did that, and I love that she was giving back to
Yeah.
the community because she made it accessible. So it's
Amazing.
cool.
I love that. Well, I'll definitely take that advice. But I mean, Steph, you have been amazing. I learned a lot in this conversation, in this podcast. So I'm pretty sure other people would have as well once I publish this, or I set it out there for everybody to see and hear. But I appreciate your time. I think we're. I mean, I think we could go on for another hour and have this conversation. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna. I would love to invite you again if you're willing to hop
Of
on in
course.
a later time frame. But I appreciate it. You've given us a lot of golden nuggets that personally for me I'm gonna take on, and I'm taking mental notes. I'm gonna write it down after this podcast recording. But thank you. I appreciate it. Any last advice to the viewers? And my ideal viewers, by the way, are going to be other business owners and entrepreneurs as well. Any advice that you
Mm,
give them at all?
for sure. So the last thing that I'll leave you with is this: you're in charge of your mindset and therefore your results. And really, it's about getting your mindset dialed in. So, whatever you think you say you can or you can't, you're always right.
Wow.
And so, if it's just that flip of a switch, I'm always going to act as if the odds are in my favor. There's no room for doubt. Why? For what purpose does that serve? If you're going to
Wow.
go all in, go all in. If it's not 100%, it's sabotage. That's what I say.
Coin that. I'm going to find myself speaking that and telling my other clients that my mentees or whatnot. But anyway, Steph, thank you again for your time. Again, everybody, I hope you found this very valuable. Again, my friend Stephanie, she's the founder and CEO of Lights Camera Live. If people want to find you, can they just go to that website, Steph?
Yes. Go to lightscameralive.com. You could reach out to me there. And then again, if you want to connect on LinkedIn, you can find me there as well. That's like in across all social media platforms, that's probably the one that I'm like I check there first as far as
Awesome.
messages go, and then all the other channels.
Well, I'll definitely connect with you as soon as we end this. But thank you so much, everybody. If you tuned in with us, we've been speaking and it's been almost 48 minutes, but it's been amazing. So I appreciate you guys. If you found this valuable, please follow, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you into the next episode. All right. Thanks again, Steph.
Thanks, Jay.
Take care.